What is going on, people of the internet? Hyperchaotic here with a K, double R, and welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time visiting my channel. And if it is, either way, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, Happy belated holidays if you're watching this later, and a Happy New Year, or belated New Year if you're watching this much later in the future. This upload will most likely be on Christmas Eve. I'm also going to have another video on Christmas Day, or at least I'm going to try to. But, yeah, I just wanted to have an upload for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Probably going to have one for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I don't know yet. I'm going to try to see what happens. But regardless, for those of you who have been watching me for quite a minute, thank you so much for watching me. I really do appreciate it. For those of you who are new to me, thank you so much for giving me the time of day. And I really do hope you guys watch all the way to the end. And if you enjoy the video, leave a like. If not, leave a dislike and a comment telling me why. Because any and all interaction is good interaction for my channel and the algorithm. And I hope I have better growth in the future, coming into the next year. But that's all up to you guys. If you genuinely enjoy the video or didn't, please interact with the video and let me know. Any and all interaction is good interaction for my channel and the algorithm, and any and all criticism can help me get better. So please leave likes, dislikes, comments, positive or negative, critique, hell, nitpicking, I don't even care. But just don't pass off nitpicking as criticism or confuse criticism for nitpicking. That's just a bit of a pet peeve of mine. It's annoying. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into today's topic. And this is a topic I've been trying to get back to for quite a while. Get back to my final makes no sense video. Now, back when I first started uploading on my channel again, yes, you heard that correctly again, because I started my channel back when I was 13 years old and kind of shut it down, forgot about it for a while, and felt like starting it back up again. Wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do. Was most likely just going to experiment, pretty much what I've been doing. I'm going to continue to do that. But I wanted to figure out, something to at least have on my channel for the time being, to at least have my first video to get me started. And this series of videos was it. I have already done 3, then pretty much done a remake of those videos, followed by another one on the Star Wars Lightsaber, which I'm going to be doing again in today's video. But it's not going to be in the same way that I did it in that last video, because see, when I originally started doing these make no sense videos, they were originally to oh, for fuck's sake, forgive me if you hear a buzzer. I have laundry being done in the background. What is wrong with my sentence structure today? My brain is broken. I think I need a cup of coffee right now, another cup. But yeah, when I originally started these make no sense videos, they were just supposed to be kind of a little bit of criticism and a little bit of nitpicking on certain game features that just didn't make sense in a sense of immersion, or even just as a mechanic in general. I've done one on, let me see if my memory is correct, one on State of Decay 2, one on Minecraft, and damn, what was the other one? There was one more, I can't remember. Anyways, and the other one, of course, was on the Star Wars Lightsaber. These were on game mechanics that I personally thought made no sense, because they're just a dumb mechanic in general, or they just kind of broke immersion, or both. But today's video is not going to be that at all, even though it's going to be a makes no sense video on the lightsaber. Now, if you do want to see my last Makes No Sense video, I will leave a link to it in the description down below. And if you would like to see my other Makes No Sense videos, they will also be linked in the description down below. I do not have a separate playlist for them. I might make one, but for the time being, they're just in my playlist labeled commentaries, which is, of course, pretty self-explanatory. Commentaries I have done. But today's video is just going to be a video about why I think the lightsaber in general, not specifically in the video game, or video games I should say, not specifically in any of the shows or movie, just in general, in lore, why the lightsaber makes no sense, and why we will never have one, at least anywhere equivalent to the one in canon lore, ever in real life. Now that said, let's begin. Now, what do I mean by the lightsaber makes no sense? When I say it makes no sense, I mean it makes no goddamn sense. In the terms of real life physics and science. Not in the sense of the world of Star Wars. For the world of Star Wars and how it works, the lightsaber, it is what it is, and it's great. It's a part of the world, and it works just fine. But in real life, it makes no goddamn sense. Compared to real life science and physics, it makes no goddamn sense. And that's not a problem for the overarching narrative of Star Wars, or for it as a property, or for the lightsaber as a concept, a fictional concept. But for us Star Wars fans out there wanting the lightsaber to be a real thing, the closest we're ever going to get in real life is going to be, I'm sorry if you hear clacketing, that was my dog. She apparently decided she doesn't want to sit still. But we will never have one in real life. Just for the simple fact that it doesn't make any scientific sense. The closest we're gonna get is something powered by some sort of gas, maybe propane. Basically a borderline torch with an extended flame. I believe a YouTuber with a channel by the name of Hack Industries actually has already done that, and if you're curious to see that for yourself, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below, as well as links to other videos in the description going over the lightsaber in detail, both in the lore and how it would work in real life. Like, if we actually did have if we actually did have lightsabers, like how they were in canon lore here in real life, like, ignore the physics, ignore the science. If we actually had those in real life, I have 2 videos that will explain how they would work with real physics, which I think are very fascinating. But after checking out those videos, kind of looking at the lore and how, you know, it will work with real life physics, I now understand why we will never have one in real life due to real life physics. And I'm actually going to go into a little bit more detail into that. But first, I want to mention these videos. That way, if you want to, you can check them out yourself. There's a good chance you probably have already seen these videos. But if you haven't, I definitely recommend checking them out. The first one, I guess the first few has to do with the lightsaber in really dumb in canon and non-canon lore. Basically, separate lore for the lightsaber between the official canon storyline of Star Wars and the lore of Star Wars Legends, which I originally thought were the equivalent of Star Wars What If series. Apparently I was wrong. That's actually Star Wars Infinity. I gotta check that out. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure how Star Wars Legends fits into all this, unless it's as the title states, they're just like legends, myths. Nobody knows in universe if they're true or not because they weren't there. Anyways, let me go ahead and go over these videos real quickly. From the ones that I did check out, I honestly recommend checking them out. They're really interesting. First one, for the lore, J.J. Abrams reveals the first lightsaber in canon, Star Wars Theory, from Star Wars Theory, how lightsabers works in Star Wars Legends, Star Wars Explained, from Leia's Lair, a Star Wars channel, and finally, how does a lightsaber work? Like, as far as its actual physical components in lore, and what each component does, what their function is, and how it all works to make the lightsaber a lightsaber. From Jared Owens, and it's very, very interesting videos. I definitely recommend them. And the next videos, which pretty much would explain how the lightsaber would work with real life physics if we had one in real life, exactly like how it is in canon lore. These two videos are why death by lightsaber would be much worse in real life, because science with Kyle Hill, chances are you know who he is from his original channel, The Nerdist, and another video from Kyle Hill called Why Don't Lightsabers Burn Your Hands Off? Like, I've wondered this before, and originally I was gonna do a make no sense video on that. I kind of mentioned that in my original video, my original first Star Wars Makes No Sense video, but it was primarily talking about the slug thrower and how it reacted with the lightsaber in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 reboot video game. But he pretty much goes over why in canon Star Wars lore, why it doesn't just burn people's hands, why the hilt doesn't just get too hot and burn the Jedi or the Sith's hand. Again, from his main channel, or I'm sorry, original channel, The Nerdist, or Nerdist. I don't know if that's still his primary channel, but that's his original channel. But yeah, links to those videos in the description down below if you want to check them out. So, with all that overview and rambling, which is now going to turn this video into a 20-minute video, because if you're new to me, just to let you know, I can't shut the fuck up. I just love to talk, apparently. But yeah, why can we never have a lightsaber in real life? Well, a little bit of a spoiler alert for Jared Owens' video. The way the lightsaber works is, of course, we all know, kyber crystals and the Force. And apparently, one of the longest ongoing questions for the lightsaber is, how come it's not just an ongoing? How do they measure how long it is, how far it extends? Now that, for that one, that has to do with certain mechanisms on the lightsaber, as well as some safety features. Or just being personally made for the user, of course. But the way the lightsaber works is it has these special metal conductors that it actually retracts the beam back into the hilt. So what we think is just a laser beam is just pure energy cycling back into the hilts. and it also stabilizes it. So it's just one straight beam that, along with the force, it actually acts like a physical object when it clashes against objects or cuts through things, instead of, it just phases through something, or the blade gets shorter, like when you put a flame up to something and the flame gets shorter. It's going to burn it a little bit. It might catch on fire. It might melt that thing depending on how long you leave it there. But you're going to distort the flame when you physically put something into it. So it stabilizes it so the blade itself doesn't get distorted, stays a single beam, and it actually acts like a physical object when you cut items, or when it bounces off lightsaber resistant items, such as what's the name of the Mandalorian metal material? Beskar or something like that, or basically Mandalorian iron. And I know there was another one that's also lightsaber resistant and apparently can actually deactivate it. I'm assuming it's because it probably fucks up with the electric conductors. Maybe either that or the force. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here right off the top of my head, because I've never really read deeper into the lore of the lightsaber. But I'm guessing, I forget what the name of that special metal is. Somebody would tell me in the comment section. But it's a special lightsaber resistant metal that they make out of blades, and it can deactivate a lightsaber. Somebody will know what I'm talking about and tell me in the comment section down below. Thank you. I will appreciate it. I'm assuming, though, unless there's like a canon explanation, if you know, let me know in the comment section down below. But I know it probably screws around with the magnetic conductors that, again, that do this process, that do this purpose of keeping it stable, keeping it a straight beam, and cycling it back into the hilts, along with the power of the force, which also helps from preventing the hilts getting hot and burning the user. But what's the primary reason that, due to real life physics and science, this can never work? Well, for starters, we don't have anything like actual kyber crystals. Something that has this... I don't know if the lightsaber is infinite. I don't know if kyber crystals have infinite power. I'm just going to assume. But this little crystal that has infinite power that they use as a sword, and apparently is kind of technically alive. No such thing exists in real life. We don't even know what material, what substance we could possibly use to power such a real life blade. Never mind such special magnetic conductors that can actively warp and stabilize this pure energy. Because the thing is, it's not a laser. It's not a laser beam. It's not fire. It's technically not even plasma, or it kind of is plasma, but kind of isn't. I'm not sure. It's a little confusing. Well, pure energy is technically considered plasma, but it's pure and utter raw energy manifested as, basically, as we all know it, as a laser sword. Pretty freaking cool. But both due to such parts that are required to make that work in kyber crystals just not existing in the real world, such a thing is not physically feasible. And of course, the final reason that such a thing is not physically feasible is the force. Now, as far as the actual mechanical parts of the lightsaber, it's really cool. It really adds to the science part of this science fantasy fiction universe, or sci-fi fantasy. But here's the thing though, that's just the sci-fi part. The fantasy element of Star Wars, of course, is the Force, the Jedi, and the Sith. And of course, many other groups of Force users, but just in general, the Force and Force users. They are the fantasy element of Star Wars, and that includes the lightsaber and kyber crystals. In the real world, we don't have anything like that. We don't have anything like the Force, like kyber crystals, any sort of material at all whatsoever that we can manifest as pure energy that cycles back into its hilt, stabilizes as a straight beam, and acts like a physical object, like a physical blade almost. Without it being a blade, it's kind of got a point to it because of the fact that that's where it starts to cycle back to the hilt. But of course, the lightsaber doesn't actually have a blade or edge or anything, with the exception of the dark saber. And that's mainly because it just cycles back in, so it's just kind of really all around. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and that's my reasons why the lightsaber makes no sense and why we'll never have one in real life. Simply put, it's a sci-fi fantasy weapon, and even with advancements in technology, such a thing is just not feasible. At least, again, anywhere equivalent to the actual lightsaber from Star Wars. The closest we're gonna get is to something made out of gas, and even if we make it a pure beam of plasma, it most likely won't be safe to hold or even be around without a protective suit. There's no way we can make a special hilt that won't burn the user. Even then, the very heat coming off the plasma itself would be enough to start just scorching you, most likely. And again, it's not going to act like a physical object. It's just going to be a borderline glorified blowtorch. And honestly, what real life use would we have for a lightsaber? Not combat, you just use a gun. Especially when we know, again, if you know this, when we know that a simple pistol would be enough to go against a Force user, sort of, because their lightsaber will be completely and utterly useless against it. Yes, I know they could just use the Force to take the gun away from you, but if you're a distance away and they're very weak and they mostly know how to use their lightsaber, they're shit out of luck. But in real world, not only is it not feasible, we literally have no use for a lightsaber at all whatsoever. Like, I don't know, go in the comment section and go ahead and try to come up with one. If we were to make a real life lightsaber equivalent to the one in Canon lore, what would we use it for? Because it wouldn't be combat. At least not unless it's sport combat, but you know, that would be very dangerous. But we would never use it for military combat when guns exist, and would make it completely ineffective. So yeah, let me know what your opinions are in the comment section down below. A real life lightsabers were a thing, what the hell would we even use them for? What would be their purpose? Because they would not be used for combat. The gun would make them useless. I mean, hell, they just made the sword alone, the very thing that the lightsaber's kind of inspired by, obsolete. So what are you going to do with a lightsaber in real life? Yes, it would be very cool to have one. It would be very cool to use one. It would be very cool to just own it, collect it. But what would be the point? What would it be used for? What purpose would it serve to give some sort of industry a reason to make it a reality and, I guess, make money off of it, to make it a business. Because if you ever wanted something like that in real life, if it doesn't have a purpose, not a lot of people are going to really buy it or get into it, other than, oh, a real life collector's item. That is also quite slightly dangerous, if not handled responsibly. In fact, I'd imagine such a thing would be illegal to an extent. I don't know. It's hard to say. But let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. But I feel like we did have a real life lightsaber. It not only would it just be useless and just have no purpose, but it probably would just be illegal anyways, or banned, because again, it would just be very, very dangerous in the hands of the user, whether they're a danger to others or themselves. But that's the end of the video. Leave a like, if not, leave a dislike. Comment with me why. Any interactions, good interaction with my channel and the algorithm. I've already been over that part. But seriously though, please leave your interactions. And I really do appreciate you watching this video all the way to the end. Even if you didn't enjoy it, I really do appreciate your time. And please do leave your dislikes. Thanks for watching. Chaotic out. Oh. Have a good one. I'm probably going to try to have another video on Christmas Day, as well as New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. If not, whatever my projects I'm planning, I'll probably just have them next year. But, of course, by the time you're watching this is my New Year's Eve, my Christmas Eve video. So again, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, belated holidays if you're watching it in the future, and a Happy New Year if you're watching this later in the future. And I'm going to try to have another video on Christmas, and hopefully New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So, if I do have one by then, see you guys, I guess, tomorrow. If not, next week. If not that, then next year. Chaotic out for real. Have a good one.